Good morning and, well, good afternoon to some people. I'm Sensei Mish and welcome to DojoChat. Today, no guests, just me. I'm going to use this as kind of like an extended, well, maybe not even extended, but basically kind of a journey episode. So welcome to my journey. As you guys come in, why don't you put your name in the chat, say hi. I have some news. Some people might already know this. Hey Harvey, how you doing? Actually, Harvey, this is this is news that you don't know, but a few people know. So last week, it's been about last week. So last week, I was informed that at the end of the year, I will no longer have a job. Well, that's not exactly how they put it. My position my post that I work right now will no longer exist. So I have been encouraged to apply for open positions. Now, these other positions are back at the hospital. They are, or add another 60 miles a day to my drive, which I don't really want to do. Or I think that there's one now there's a couple positions open on swing shift, which interfere with my training schedule. So I haven't been offered a, oh God, what do you call it? I was just talking about it last night, a severance package, because there are open spots, but technically there's nothing that's open that is equivalent to what I'm doing right now. So, so I'm going to try and weasel my way into getting a severance package, because really the only other option is for me to retire from what I'm doing now and pursue my journey, which I've been preparing for. I just didn't realize it was going to be so soon, of running a martial arts school. So about 12 to 18 months earlier than I expected, but I believe I am prepared to do it. Now it's funny because I actually recorded a journey episode, one of the pre-recorded ones that I did, and I was going to post it, and I didn't. I actually did another one on my way up to a seminar in Tacoma many weeks ago, and again, I didn't post it, and I don't know why. But really, it all comes down to like the topic of that, and the topic of this is really doing what you love, and not necessarily at all costs, but if there's somebody you want to train with, if there's if you're unhappy in your job, then sometimes you just need to take the chance and do it. So that's kind of what I'm doing. I actually found a location, and let's see if I can share. Oh, wrong button. I want to show a picture of this place. In fact, if anybody watches Brandon Beliso, I sent him notes. He's gonna help me out with a couple things when it comes to the lease, or negotiating the lease. And so I sent him all my notes, and he's like, "Oh, I dig this information. I dig that information." Gave me a whole bunch of notes, but via his podcast yesterday. So so that was frightfully. It was nice. He did ask permission before he made it all public, so I said it was okay. And I can't okay, there we go. I couldn't in my brain, I couldn't figure out which one it was. Okay, the icon that I was looking for. Let me see. Image. I think Okay, so this is, it'll come up. Okay, so I'll share this with you. Share screen. So this is the potential future artisan martial arts. This is actually in it's in a major mall. Like just existing there, I could get enough students to pay the rent. Easy, easy. Now I'm not, of course, I'm not crossing my fingers on that, but like this is a corner spot. It's kind of like right in the middle of this huge strip mall. We've got a big grocery store on one side and a Walgreens on another, and then all these other little businesses. I'd be the only martial arts place there. On the property, there's also 3 or 4 banks. 3 I know for sure. There's a McDonald's. There's a Thai place. There's a sushi place. There's an auto parts store. I mean, like, there's going to be so much traffic here that it's just unreal. And so yeah, so it's going to be incredible. Again, I have my application right here, and got to fill it out. Of course, this is empty. You got to fill it out. But yeah, I'm very, let's just say I'm scared shitless. The fact that I potentially will be losing my job and then like needing to like start from, not necessarily start from scratch, but basically start anew in something new. Well, that's the wrong words. It's not going to be new because I've been doing this for a while and this is what I dreamed of. I just wanted to have a little bit more control over what's going on. So, but yeah, it's pretty cool. Now, one of my challenges, though, and I'll admit this, one of my challenges is that I live in a state that requires masks inside all the time, regardless of vaccination status. And so when it comes to teaching martial arts, that's going to be a challenge because right now I have a very, very small number of students. We meet pretty much one-on-one or virtually, and we don't wear masks because we're both comfortable with it, and I don't have anybody leering in on me, watching us. So yeah, so that's going to be a change for me. Hopefully the mask mandates will go away soon, and I won't have to worry about it, but they're still going to be going on through the winter. And if I get approved for this spot and I have, I don't know, what is it? Say I'm open for business even January 1st, that's still the winter. The mask mandates are going to be around because it's flu season already. So, and depending on who you talk to, COVID isn't going to go away anytime soon. So, so that is a challenge. Now the build out on this is going to be freaking super simple. Let me share another picture with you guys. Let's see, is this it? Nope. This is it. Okay, let me share this too. This is pretty cool. Sorry. All these little button windows. Okay, here we go. All right, so this is the inside. It looks really horrible, but on the right, you've got, at the far end, you have a single bathroom that has the grossest toilet I've ever seen. So that gets to be replaced first off. And then on the left, there's a little storage area. That's about a 6x6. And then you just have this big carpeted area. Like I don't have to really destroy anything to put in what I want. It's more like sanding and painting the walls, ripping out the carpet, throwing down some wood flooring, and a ton of mats. I've already been in contact with Dolmar. Um, I have two different numbers of mats because I have 10 mats in my dojo now. So, but I think I would need 30. Can't remember if I need 39 or 36 for this. It will be 39 feet of mat space. So you're looking about 19 feet wide and 39 feet of mat space. So it's a huge training area. I mean, this is going to be fantastic. And then there's going to be a little pony wall to kind of separate the entrance from the training area. So yeah, it's going to be pretty cool when I actually get the place and do the build out. So it's going to be simple and pretty quick. So looking super forward to it. Now, you might be asking yourself, well, you have a dojo at home. Why not? Yes, I would agree. It has lots of potential. And in fact, I went back there last night. The management company is actually really, really cool. The gal I've been dealing with, there's just a code. There's like one of those key boxes on the door. She just gave me the code. She's like, go in there anytime you want. Freaking sweet. So, I went in there first, to kind of look around, and then I went in there to take measurements, and then I was showing a friend of mine, because a friend of mine who owns a school locally, I sat down with him, and we had a talk about some of the challenges and all that. So, and then and he's like, well, here, take me to the space. So I took him, showed him around, and he's like, this is amazing. And the rent, I mean, like, it is more than what my mortgage is, but potentially, like, or really the rent based on its location is phenomenally reasonable. And so I just want to know how many, basically part of the negotiation process, I kind of want to know how many free months I can get based on the build out. But that won't come until I apply and then say, hey, what kind of stuff, what are you willing to give me based on my build out and all that kind of stuff. So it's all part of the negotiation process, which is kind of funny, because when I was talking to this gal, in Oregon and Washington, leasing negotiations all have to be written. Like, it can't be like negotiation process. So like, even if we were in person discussing prices, all the details, it would still have to be one of those where, like, I write on a, it couldn't be, okay, we're going to discuss this, handshake, and then it's written up and we both sign it. It's one of those where I write on a piece of paper, give her the offer, she writes on a piece of paper to counter offer, and it would go back and forth like that. And I was like, seriously? Like, okay, all news to me. I've never done this before, so it's all new territory. That I think is a little absurd, but I get the process. Let's see. I was kind of like, what? I have a dojo at home. Why would I want to rent one? Why would I want that overhead? Especially when all of a sudden I'm not going to have a job, and essentially to pay for this, I'm transferring my IRA and then moving and then taking money out of that from the company, little bits at a time as I need it. That's a great question, and I have a simple answer for you. I have had a challenge, at least in the last few years, getting students to the dojo and them going, oh, That's really cool. Like my dojo looks like a dojo. Yes, it is located in a double car garage in the middle of Vancouver suburbia. But like you go in it and like I've been told my school looks nicer than some storefront schools. I got like premium mats. The walls are painted. I got heat and air conditioning, and you know a nice digital setup. I could totally run a school like that. I don't have to fork out thousands and thousands of dollars on a build out or thousands and thousands of dollars a month in rent. But my challenge is attracting students. And I would need students to be able to pay the bills. My whole goal was to slowly build up a student base. And then, you know, when I had enough students, be like, okay, I can move these students into a storefront and I already have the money coming in. And I know like there wouldn't be any stress to it. Yeah, I can quit my job. I don't have any of that, but I have like instant income because it's already there. That's of course not going to happen. So, and this spot is prime. This spot is prime. And I don't know if the gal is lying to me or not. Like I was telling my buddy last night, I'm a trusting person, but when it comes to certain like salespeople, business people, I want to believe them, but I'm very hesitant right off the bat. I can't really, like the woman says, well, you know, there's no rush. There's, you know, I don't want to rush you. I don't want to, you know, get you into something you don't feel you can get into. But there are like 3 or 4 other people looking at this property. And I have like 2 other phone calls I need to make. Okay. You got great. So no pressure, but you have competition. And then of course I fill out the application and then she takes the applications to the property owner and the property owner gets to pick who they want in that spot, which property owner's right, you know, that's fine. But yeah, so I'm less like, so all of a sudden she has like a bunch of people wanting information on this property, but it's been open. Like there's at least since August 5th, this has been an open spot. Now there is another open spot just up the road that I've had my eye on for probably the last over a decade, and it has actually been open for over a decade. I have not made a phone call on that property because there's not a lot of foot traffic. Here, there's a ton of foot traffic. Just saying. Let's see, what else am I going to say? Ooh, so I've got 2 book projects. I'm bringing them, so anybody from Jacksonville, you're actually getting to see these in real. But I've got 2 book projects. I've got samples that came. So this is the one that I've been working on right now. I call it, current working title is Decoding the Blueprints of Kata. This is essentially the rule, like the rules for interpretation. You know, Dillman gave some rules. I've been working with a modified set for years. I figured, why not put it in a book form? So this has been a great project. One of the reasons I got the a proof so early, because it's like they're still, let's see, this last section doesn't have anything in it, but I was trying stuff visually with the pictures and an image flow that I was like, okay, I have to see it in real to be able, and it's not just like being able to print something off. I actually need to see it like this to see what it's going to look like, how it's going to turn out. And so far, I'm pretty happy with what I've done. And then my next project, which this will come out first. Can't say when it's going to because I don't exactly know, because now I have to open a school. Yes. But this will be a priority of it coming out. This is a bigger project. It probably will take a while for me to put it out. But and I don't know if I've showed this off before, but this is my Q Show information guide. Every single Q Show Corner episode has basically, I've put together like an information sheet on each pressure point. And so, you know, as I study the points, make an episode, or just study the points without making the episode, I just chart notes. So I decided, why not put everything in a book? And I don't know if I have the book behind me. I don't, but there's a Fundamentals of Chinese Acupuncture book, and it's got to be that thick. It's super, super thick, and it's a ton of pressure point information, but it's really for healing. It's for acupuncture. It's not for us. It's not for the martial artist. So so that's what this is. This is I'll show you. I'll show you an example. So this is what. Okay, which one? Show you this one. This is large intestine 10. So it's going to pretty much look like that. It's got a picture. It's got all little basic information on it, and then it's got some notes, and then it's got actually a note section for you to put your own notes in there. So, and that's for every single point. I don't know if you can pick up the flipping of the pages on the mic, but so yeah. Harvey, you actually got to see a digital version of this when we were in Tacoma. So I actually have a printed copy, so you could get so you could actually see it in real. But it only is that thick. It's like this ends up being this copy. This copy is what is it? It is 420 pages, and there's a couple index pages here. So I would say in total, this is probably about 425 pages. And it's actually not that thick. Okay, so here's a recent, this is a recent issue of the Bubishi. If we go spine to spine, it's actually just a little bit thicker, just a hair thicker. So it actually, I was like, wow, this is a solid book, lots of great information. So, but this is a longer project because there's like, 20 bazillion pressure points. Let's see. Oh, A Year of Trek. Has anybody been watching? There are people that watch, not live, but they watch the show after it's been aired. Haven't been able to do as many live shows as I've wanted. When I went to Indiana, which I had an amazing time there, I watched some episodes, but I wasn't able to stream my regular show. So, and I thought, I could watch all these episodes while I fly. I've conditioned my body just to sleep when I fly. So it was kind of hard to watch this stuff when I was asleep. So let's see. Any other information? Oh yeah. So I'll be in Jacksonville next Saturday. So if there is a broadcast of DojoChat, it will be live with, and actually we'll probably be in the middle of a seminar at the time. So probably not. But I will, this is what I'm doing is I am actually filming martial artists or Q Show martial artists for Q Show Corner. So it's like, give me your favorite technique. I've started editing the stuff from Indiana. I think I got 7 episodes. I got 7 instructors. I haven't decided if I want to do like 2 instructors an episode. because they were pretty short. It was like, okay, here you go, and this is it. So, but I figured a little bit more meat, because it's not. I want to give quality, not quantity. So, but anyway, I spoke with David Hogan, and he's totally cool with me doing it out in Jacksonville. So, Jacksonville peeps, when we're out there, be prepared. 5 minutes of your time, your go-to Q show, whatever you got. Okay, and then yeah, and we'll try and watch some Star Trek as well. Okay, so that really is kind of a big update. To summarize, at the end of the year, I won't have a job. I am transferring to be that full-time martial arts school owner that I really have. That's what I want to do with my retirement. 99% chance it's going to be in a storefront. Hopefully, the one I just shared. But there is that chance I may just do it from the garage to begin with. But might as well just go full bore brick and mortar. And then got some books. There's trainings. Now, here's also the thing. At the beginning of the year, my schedule opens up immensely for seminars for me to go to and to teach. And then let's see, and then virtual training, etc. All right, so we got a question. Gus Goof. Hi, question. Why is there no evidence of your martial arts actually working against a resisting opponent? Well, Gus, what kind of evidence do you want? I mean, like what are you, like there, are you saying that all the videos out there are of people not resisting, like that it's all just kind of, make the instructor look good, and there's not any real stuff out there? And is that question directed towards me or to the Q show community? Because there are videos out there that do show. Okay, so to both. Okay, to both. Yes. Okay. Yes. To both. Okay. So Q Show Corner is basically. I don't know how much of the show you've watched. I recognize your username. I know you've commented questioningly on some of my stuff. So mine it's an educational thing. We focus on a specific point, and this is how it works. There are several different theory models out there. So one of them is elemental, the elemental theory. There's an elemental episode. I don't know what number it is, but fire melts metal, metal cuts wood, as an explanation of how points go together. There is a camp of Q show people who really believe in that, and then there's others that don't. That there are that basically a point is a point. So I try and bring it as much information to the masses. The people that I use, I've tried to use different people because everybody has different reactions. Thomas, my main Uki, he just happens to be really susceptible to points. So yes, I'll admit, he makes me look good. But that is like an over exaggeration of what the point can do. But there's some people that just points just don't work on. Really, the statistics is 80% of or points work 100% of the time on 80% of the people, or they work on 80% of the 80% of the people 100% of the time. However you want to look at it, points don't work on everybody. Knockouts don't work on everybody. Mechanics, and really when it comes down to it, the mechanics of the technique is really what's important. And that's, I believe I've tried to promote that idea from the beginning. Pressure points just add to the technique. Even in this book, so my Decoding Kata book, I actually show applications where it's like there's an application from a form where you're using just pressure points to using not, basically the move, not necessarily using pressure points. You're just using the move. You're grabbing onto body parts. You're using the manipulation of the body. So now when it comes to people resisting the points, there's, like, mine is educational. I don't like there. I did actually put out. So I put out a a series of videos that I filmed years and years and years ago. But it was one of those where it was a breakdown of Taikyoko Kata. The initial applications. So if you watch the video, there's me doing the move. There's the result of the application, and then me talking about the application. The result of the application is real resistance. Now, is that in a controlled environment in a dojo for to be on camera? Yes. But my training philosophy is if I'm going to put this on camera and it's going to show the application, I'm really going to do it. I'm going to do it, and that person's going to have a reaction. Kyusho corner is a little bit different. I'm just showing a point, giving an example. This is how to activate the point. This is how to get to it. Let's see. There's not my videos. There are other videos out there that where you've got, oh shoot, I can't even remember where it was. But I want to say it was like a video from it was almost like a second story video of, it was phone camera. This guy was kind of beating up on a girl. The story has been manipulated because I really don't know the relationship of the guy beating up on the girl. I've heard it a couple different ways. Usually it's told a pimp beating up on one of his girls. And this martial arts guy comes out, so you kind of see the guy beating up on the girl over here, then the person entering the scene, because of course you've got the building, and then he enters into the street, basically trying to get the guy to stop. The guy doesn't stop. The guy tries to swing on the guy, or on the martial arts guy, and boom, a chop to the neck. I'm sorry, that's a pressure point. That's that, and because the pimp goes down like that, just 1 point hit the ground. Great. And was that resisting? Well, if I remember the video correctly, the guy punched the pimp was punching the martial arts guy, and so the martial arts, he ends up throwing a knife hand. Guy drops. If you're talking about grappling, like say Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu grappling, or say MMA grappling, and points working there, I just haven't watched enough. I couldn't give you an example. In fact, I would love, and I'll be honest, I know like this much ground stuff, this much Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu. I can point out some positions, but I don't know a lot of technique. I have not spent a lot of time on the ground. I would love to get together with a ground guy, a Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu guy, and let's see what works in the moment on points. Okay. Yeah, of course, a neck chop from a karate guy is effective, but that's not the same as a pressure point in your arm, as example. Those two are not the same. Okay, so Okay. So what you're saying is like, are you saying like a knockout on the arm? Like say Sensei Dillman's famous, you know, he's attacking the arm like that. Is that what you're talking about? False equivalent. Okay. So there's a time lag between his comments and this. So okay, all right. So I'll give you an example on that one. Yeah, no problem. Absolutely no problem. I have no problem discussing this. Okay, so say you've got Dillman's famous arm knockout, and I'm going to use Dillman, and not to knock him. I know a lot of people do, but and this could actually be taken negatively or positively, but it's I know Oyata doesn't get the credit he deserves, but pressure points wouldn't be out there for this controversial discussion from any camp if it wasn't for George. So some people say that, you know, even though he's a controversial person, if it wasn't for him, it was, you know, we wouldn't know about the points, which is true. But then at the same time, it brings up all this other stuff. But I'll use that as an example because there's lots of videos of him doing it. There are videos of other people doing it. That technique, that's for show. I will be honest, I can't get that actual technique to work. I know the science behind it, but I have actually not been able to knock anybody out on the arm. Because there you've got lung 5, and then let's see, try and get this into view. So you've got lung 5, and then you've got 2 extraordinary points. So you've got really 3 points that you're coming down on, doing that, striking there. But not everybody can do it, and usually, what's his name? Bill Burke, I think that, yeah, Bill Burke, if I can remember correctly, he's the one that George always knocks out, or at least I've seen George do it on him more often. Well, again, because it's not really meant to be a realistic situation, because it's more like, you know, because you can see George holding onto the arms and then striking, you know, holding onto the wrist points and then striking the forearm. That is, it's for show. And Burke is more sensitive than others, so he makes George look really good when he does that. Again, like even for Thomas, yeah, he's more sensitive than others. I still can't get that to work on him. I don't know. Maybe I'm doing it wrong. But that's just me. We've got a lot of the stuff that is shown, and I think that's why Kyusho gets such a bad name, is that some of the stuff that is shown in demonstration, people expect that to be real. Situations of true resistance, somebody grabbing you, somebody punching at you, a ground grapple, okay? Some of that even in a controlled situation is still safe. It's safer than it happening in real. Oh shoot, I don't know. It's like, okay, my Vulcan neck pinch. Okay, there you go. I wrote a book, figured out how to do it because I am a super Star Trek guy. I freaking love Star Trek. I am I'm all about this is demo. This is for messing around with your friends. This is to be like, hey, here's an example of how pressure points work. Is it going to work for real? Probably not. Now, I'm not going to say never, because there are some people that are super talented, and there might be that person who practices and practices, because the first time we do a technique, we suck at it. It doesn't matter what we do, no matter how talented we are, we're going to suck at that. We're going to suck at that technique. But the more we practice and the more we practice and the more we practice, we get better and better and better. Okay. So if somebody really wanted to focus and learn like one or all four of these applications, and they were able to do it, just like Spock on TV, and then start to apply that into a real situation, I could see that that's possible. But there are just some things that are just not combat applicable. This is not combat applicable yet. I'll bring up the no touch. Okay, that's for show. That is absolutely for show. That's a demo thing. That's like this. Ooh, look at what I can do. Anyone teaching that as this is how to defend yourself in real life, that is that's an instructor you do not want to learn from. Okay, if the instructor's like, hey, let's play with some energy, whether you believe in energy or not, I don't know, don't care. I have felt it. I have been knocked out from 15 feet away. Okay, but I am a believer. I am a little bit susceptible. And it was not under that I'm attacking you type of situation. It was, I want to feel what this looks like. Okay. Let me give you guys an example. I need to have some tea first. So, I was a taser instructor for several years. Okay, no longer certified taser instructor now, because I never took, I haven't done a recert, but I was a taser instructor, and the okay, hold on, I may have to trail back. Okay, yes, but that's the power of suggestion. I could agree with that. I could agree with that, but not necessarily. Not necessarily. But again, I can't stress enough. It is no touch is a demo thing, and not combat applicable. Not at all. But let me get to my example. So, taser instructor for certification, Axon, as the company is known now. They used to be known as Taser. Now Taser is the tool. Axon is the company. So one of the rules, at least when I went through, before it was everybody got tased. Now it's only people who want to get tased get tased. So when I got my personal exposure during instructor class, I was, it was the example of, I'm on the ground, okay, there's a weapon just out of hand's reach. I get shot, and really the only one that gets shot, or like, but both probes have to connect in some shape or form, and how they connect depends on the incapacitation that you get. Okay, so my instructor, he basically, for my personal example, I got a probe in the ass, and so we had one probe off, one probe missed, and one probe hit my ass, ass cheek. Now, both probes have to work. So I have a probe in my ass, okay, And then he came up and drive tased me in my other ass cheek. This was to show a couple different things. I am, how does it connect? What happens when only one probe connects? What happens when you have one probe and a drive tase? And the mindset of the person who's being tased on getting to a weapon. Okay. Now I'll say it hurt. Worst 5 seconds of my life, but I would take it again in a heartbeat. Because I learned so much in that little 5 second span. Yes, my ass was getting lit up. Literally, my ass was getting lit up. But I was able to crawl to that weapon and get off a couple sim rounds. Okay. So when Gus Goof mentions the power of suggestion, it is about the mind. Okay. Yes, believers, they're going to be more susceptible. The non-believers who are conscious of the action are going to be more susceptible or less susceptible. And the reason I say conscious of the action, because I've watched people, and how ethical this is, it's all based on your personal ethics, who are a lot more energetically in control than I am, mess with people standing in line. Like you just stand there and kind of mess with somebody's energy and either push them forward, and not so they fall over, but just enough so they lose balance back or forth where they need to take that front step. But they don't know that this is happening. If they were of a strong mind and conscious that somebody was playing with their energy, absolutely they could that they could probably overcome. Okay. In that famous National Geographic video that George did, he says, oh, well, if they had their tongue in the right, in the wrong way or whatever, or if they had their big toes up. Yeah, it's all about, what he doesn't say is you can ground yourself physically with tongue, toes up, heel up, lots of different ways to do it, but you can also do it with your head. So, we don't have any super powerful Jedi or Sith around. So, or at least any that I know personally. So you've got those people that, if the person is mentally strong enough and can overcome it, yeah, I would totally see that it's all about the power of suggestion. And if they're not part of that, if they're not willing to accept that suggestion, yes, they are going to be less susceptible. So, I only got one watcher right now. Gus, are you still there? Did that answer your question? And okay, so I know I told the taser story for a reason. Okay, so let's let's continue on with that taser. Okay, cool. Thank you. Great. Yes, you are here. Okay, so I was trying to make it. I made one little point with the taser thing, but I wanted to bring it back to the whole Q show thing as well. So when it comes to taser, at least what we are allowed to do in class for certification, there is no like major resistance. Like I can't really have somebody charging at me or somebody running away. And mainly because if somebody gets hurt, we don't want our because if you get a good shot off, I'm sure people have seen those there's these videos of people who are running from the cops, and a taser, cop gets a good probe discharge, which what we call crossing the belt, one on the back, one on the leg, and they just lock up because that's your full incapacitation. And then they just hit the ground on their face and skid. I would love to do something like that in class. But when it comes to insurance, when it comes to injuring your partner, I think there's a lot of people who are not willing to do that. I'm willing to take that next step and be a little bit more realistic, but there's still that thing of safety in my head. Rory Miller talks about it, that as martial artists, we cheat ourselves when we train because we're always being too safe. So, and so, yes, in my taser example, we were trying to prove a point, but of how different things, and even when I have done exposures, usually the person is just standing there, and I'm shooting them in the back, or the person is lying down, and I've shot them in the back, and I've recreated my scenario. I've come up and played with some of my own, because where I work, we use the taser, the X2, which has two cartridges, and so playing with how the two cartridges work together and showing that how they work together in real, but not like that person fighting. But if you have that person who is resisting in real, and this has happened in real at where I work, and I've heard about it from other cops, where you're gonna that person might be rushing towards you, and you're gonna go taser, 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 and you're gonna pull that trigger, and the probes aren't going to connect right because the person is angled wrong. They might have big clothing. There was one several years ago. Couldn't tell you. This is how long ago it was. Toys R Us was still around. There was anyway. So there was either a shoplifter or some scenario where Portland shows up at Toys R Us, and they had a bunch of cops end up deploying their tasers, and the guy had plastic lightsabers. He literally deflected the taser probes, or at least, because of course the probes are attached to wire, so and so they couldn't get a good shot off on him. They couldn't get a good shot off on him because he was fucking using lightsabers. Okay. Okay. So you're a nice guy. I feel kind of bad for my previous comments, but just to be frank, if you get someone like a boxer or a BJJ who is resisting you, and you showcase that your martial arts really works, I have a feeling that comment was longer, but it didn't. I don't think that I got your whole comment there. I would like to at some point, because I will say this. Yes, and I don't know if it was you who commented recently on I just got a comment the other day. Oh, okay. Let me stop talking. We have a continuation. All right, so let's put this up again. But just to be frank, if you get someone like a boxer of a BJJ who is resisting you, and you showcase that your martial arts actually work, that would be convincing. Now it's just all talk. Boxing, BJJ, Thai boxing don't need to be theoretical explanation. Yes, you're not wrong. You're not wrong. The problem, though, is there's so many people that even if we showed it as a here's a real situation, you're still going to get those detractors. I have been in real situations, and I don't know if it was you who had commented, but there was a recent comment on one of my previous episodes. I think it was Trip Warmer 17. The guy said, "You've obviously never really been in a real fight," or something like that. Right now, I just don't have the energy to fuck back with anybody, or I would respond to that. So I negative stuff like that, I just like, yeah, whatever. It is what it is. But I have used Q Show and Reel. But the stuff that ends up on video, I can't actually show because it's against HIPAA it's a HIPAA violation. So I think the stuff that ends up on video is it just happens to be the video out there. I would love to get together with somebody that we can play, like even early on, when I was early on and I just become a black belt. I was training with these guys, and one was a Taekwondo guy and one was a Shotokan guy. I was Ruku Kempo, Shotokan, Ruku Kempo. They're kind of the same ones, but I'm focusing on pressure points and they're focusing on blocks and kicks. We used to do that. We would spar and, sometimes you miss, sometimes you don't. But again, I would love to be able to learn some BJJ, but also see what works in real. And really, and with boxing, yeah, I mean, a lot of them are jabs. So you're never going to be able to catch the punch to grab, to strike, to uppercut. It's got to be a different, it's the timing of not knocking the person out from the arm, but at least destroying the limb, making it weak so you can enter in. But that's all on timing. And that's why sparring is important, to build up that timing. So, well, Gus, I'm glad you think I'm a nice guy. I appreciate it. I don't know you, so I never really held any ill will against you, even if you commented negatively. But I encourage further conversation, either back on here. Hell, if you want to be a guest, you can be a guest. Okay. I don't know if you follow me on Instagram. I have an Instagram. DM me on there. Okay. DM me on there, because I'd love to have a further conversation and not have this time lag of like 15 or 20 seconds between you saying something and then me commenting. Yeah, I mean, let's totally talk. I'm totally good for that. So anyway, Sensei Mish on Instagram, send me a DM, okay? And then we'll connect, okay? And maybe not next week because I'm going to be in Jacksonville, but I'm totally up for a good conversation, okay? Maybe some friendly banter. All right, so it's been an hour. I have things to do today, so I appreciate everyone who showed up to watch, to listen to me jabber. I appreciate Gus. I'm glad that you were able to come in and hopefully get some questions answered. Oh, you don't have an IG. Okay. All right. Well, here, write this down, because this is public information anyway. Actually, here, I'm just going to type into the chat before I end here. Sorry. Here we go. That's my email address. Okay, that's my martial arts email address. You could probably also send it to Sensei Mish at kyushucorner.com, but that's my martial arts school and my martial arts school email address. So send me an email and we'll connect. I want to do this. Okay. Okay, so that is all we have to say about that. Thank you for tuning in. Thank you, Gus. Great conversation. Like, share, subscribe, all those really cool social media things. And until next time, be safe, train hard, and Gus, I will be talking to you later.